Good morning, good afternoon, good day, and all around salutations to everyone, and welcome to another episode here on the Sitrep Podcast. I am joined as always by my partner in crime, the patent to my Bradley, my man Marty up in Chicago. Marty, how you doing?
Good morning, all. It's a beautiful day here. It's sunny and, I don't know, 75 out. It's a really gorgeous morning, so
Oh, nice.
I'm excited for the day. And you'll have to pardon me if my guest star, my cat Peyton here, for some reason this morning, apparently he has not had enough love because my daughter's not home, will not leave me alone. So you may see several appearances from him as well as me chucking him across the room.
As long as I don't have to cut him a check, it's fine. As far like free talent on the show, it's all good.
Oh, good. Well, I think we're covered there. He works for food and attention.
There you go. Well, that's all on your end. I didn't sign any contract with the cat, so no worries there. We are also joined by our returning champion, the guy who thought he got fired last episode. It's not true. He's allowed to take a vacation like everybody else. Our barbarian from the Eastern Steppe, Mr. Piot. How you doing, sir?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing fine. We're finally starting to have good weather, so hopefully I will do something later after the show and after resigning the contract because he didn't fire me, but he doesn't want to, admit it.
You were out on vacation. I brought in a guest star. You put to the comments, I guess I got fired. I didn't even get a letter. Okay, I see how it is. No worries.
Vacation, this is how you call it nowadays.
And certainly not last, the return of our wayward prodigal son, Mr. Chris. How you doing up there?
Doing good. How are y'all doing?
Not too bad. It's good to have you back on the show.
Thanks.
Cool. All right. Well, they call it a sit rep, so let's have a friggin' sit rep. Did everyone? I guess you're in America. Did everyone have a good holiday weekend last week?
So yeah, for the most part, and I say that I'm the commander of my VFW. We went and did a parade. We went and did a ceremony afterwards for the unveiling of dedication of a recently conserved flag called the Cass flag. So the little tiny community that is part of the larger town that our VFW is in, back during the Civil War, didn't have a flag. So, and they wanted a flag, and they wanted to have it ready to go. So, this is 1861. Dude rode his horse, and that's like 30 miles to Chicago to go get a flag. Couldn't find one. Comes back. He's like, "Hey, sorry guys, can't get you one." And they're like, "Nope, not good enough." They send him back. He comes back with fabric, and then they Betsy Rossed a flag overnight. And this flag is 7 foot by 11.5 feet. It's
like a big garrison flag.
So,
yeah, those are.
This was their flag in town. And again, back in 1861, they had it in time to do their parade the next morning. They were very excited, and then over the years, it kind of just fell off the radar, and then nobody knew what was going on. It ended up at a library in an adjacent town, and had been in there for like 30 years. Nobody knew what it was. And after, librarians doing what librarians do, they established the provenance, figured out, shit, this is the Cass flag. So they had that restored, and, it's a museum case now up on the wall in the little Historical Society Museum. We did presented the colors for dedication of that, hung out with them. And unfortunately for us, during that time is when we found out that the Highland Park shooting of the 4th of July parade, because that's in our area. It's not right by us, but that's probably 30 miles from us, 35. If you go pretty much up the coast of Lake Michigan towards Wisconsin.
They're closer to Chicago than we are.
Yeah, it's a straight shot down 94 for them.
So yeah, that's like apparently America's new pastime.
Yeah.
So I was up at my dad's house for the holiday weekend, where he puts on a gigantic fireworks show. Like almost commercial grade. I'm surprised he hasn't, blown himself up at this point. Knock on wood that he continues not to. Although this time, lately, he's been sort of, letting other people run the show. Last year, because it's very ad hoc, it's not very organized, and it's out in the dark. Obviously, we didn't have like headlamps or any, kind of flashlights. Couldn't really see what we were doing. I took one of those mortar boxes that they sell. I don't know if they sell them up by you guys.
Yep.
Because you can't see, we lit the fuse and I put it on the little we have these wooden benches that we launch off of. Put it on there upside down and ran away. Didn't realize it was upside down. And when it started shooting, the rocket started going into people's cars. It went sideways into the crowd. It actually hit like my dad in the leg and like burned a little bit of his hair off, like the hair on the bottom of your leg. Caught me a little piece like up here in the head. We're lucky, honestly. I mean, we're laughing about it now, but we're lucky nobody actually got hurt. That was last year. This year we kind of redeemed ourselves. Didn't even have any kind of put on a much bigger show. It was much better organized. All battles are won or lost in the preparation. So we had like these ammo carts coming out of the magazine, i.e. my dad's garage, and like these big tool carts, and we're literally just wheeling them out there like in phases. Like this is the finale, this is the opening, this is the. And
already had them all pre-staged and set. You just had to light the fuse, kind of deal.
Yeah, that, and I had two guys helping me this time, so it was. I had a 3-man team. It was a lot easier. No problems. We didn't blow anybody up. That's what was pretty cool. And then one of my dad's neighbors, because America, I has a 4-pound cannon.
Yeah.
Gun. But there's old black powder weapon, and the only thing he's ever really shot out of it is a golf ball, according to what he says. And I'm kind of guessing what I call it a 4-pound cannon. That's about what it looks like. And if I ever get it edited right, there's a video of me setting that thing off, of course with no round in it. It's just a bunch of newspaper, so it doesn't quite have the same punch that a black powder artillery piece would have. And it's also very light. Like it could fit in this office. It's a 4-pounder. It's basically a deck gun. But a little bit of black powder gaming at 1-to-1 scale, so that was a lot of fun. Can't complain about that.
Right.
So that was the weekend. We got a bunch.
You shot in the good direction.
I shot into a tree line, and again, it didn't have any rounds in it. It was just like literally, what is it? There's a little bit of padding in there, like newspaper he uses, a little bit of that. Then the actual cartridge of black powder actually pours it in there. It's not a cartridge. It's not like a powder bag. Then he puts in the actual ball. No, he doesn't have a ball in there. He just wads in more paper and sets it off. It makes a big explosion, a bunch of white smoke. It's pretty cool. It was still louder than any of the fireworks. That thing went off like people were like startled. They thought like a whole box of ammo had gone off, accidentally or something. Because even firing blanks, basically, it's still a lot louder than any of the fireworks.
There's probably a lot more black powder in there than there are most fireworks.
I would assume that, yeah, that's for sure. So we got a bunch of people in the chat already. John has joined us. Thanks very much for coming out, John. Jennifer's with us. Gaz is with us. Hello, Gaz.
Gaz.
So, yeah, we got a little bit of an audience again today. So awesome, cool. Jen's we had an actual cannon. Yeah, it was one of my dad's neighbors. Jim even created a soundtrack to go with the fireworks show. Yeah, Dad wanted so we got like a Bluetooth speaker, and we had like a bunch of stuff on there that people wanted to see, that my dad wanted to hear. So Jen hears that I'm making Jen and some other people that were there were here that I was making a soundtrack to go with the fireworks. And they're like, okay, we want live like Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, and all this, stuff from like the last 100 years. I'm like, no, dude, because my dad wanted like traditional stuff. We started off with, of course, the national anthem, and then went through a bunch of like John Sousa stuff, if I'm saying that name correctly. The old score, the old school stuff. And Jen's like, you're not gonna have anything non-traditional? I'm like, let me tell you something, honey. If we were gonna have non-traditional American music for this fireworks show, it would be the Team America theme on loop. The whole playlist would be exactly one song. So we're not.
So I did play that.
There you go. See,
so I laugh.
Great minds think alike. So trust me, we're sticking with conventional.
The 1812 Overture is also a good one if you can time the explosions correctly.
That did come up in discussion, and I had to say, hey, everybody, that's a Russian piece of music written to celebrate a Russian military triumph. So
Yeah, I know
playing it,
Tchaikovsky wrote it, and I don't care. I just love that it's music and it says "Cannon fires here."
yeah, any symphony or yeah, it's a symphony. Any symphony where you literally need an artillery battery to perform it correctly, um, isn't a bad thing.
Marty used to choreograph with that.
Yeah, but my first 3 years in the Army, I was artilleryman, and we would have salute battery duties, and that would be one of the things you would have to do is go to the on post 4th of July celebration, and you were the cannon, and
Nice.
which is kind of weird because you've got your gun sections laid out, and you only need 2 to do it, so we only took 3, so it was a half a battery for us. But we're used to receiving our firing orders from our gun chief and chief of firing battery, not a band director.
Now you're looking at a conductor. Go shoot now, damn it! You're messing up my timing.
The other thing is, because this was done at night to the fireworks, if you say, I don't know, stuff a roll of toilet paper in a 105 millimeter howitzer and then soak it with a half a gallon of brake free, that's a 60-foot flame that comes out of your howitzer. Ask me how I know.
Theoretically, allegedly.
Yeah.
This is ein Flammenwerfer. It werfs Flammen.
Also, if you stuff a tennis ball into a 75 millimeter cannon that's like, say, I don't know, at the base of the post flag, when they sound the salute in the morning, it will fly over the PX.
I was gonna say, wow, yeah, that's good.
And you get to
the
meet a
PX
general.
That's good. How long has it been since we've used 75s? But I guess for salute guns and stuff like that.
It's just a little tiny cannon that they put next to the flagpole so that they can fire the salute in the morning and at retreat.
John says, I know a guy in Pompano Beach. That's literally the town where I live. Well, I live in Deerfield, but Deerfield and Pompano are basically the same thing. I know a guy in Pompano Beach who has a black powder mortar he made from an old oxygen cylinder. He shoots bowling balls with it. Okay, well, thanks, John. That's literally my town. And now I've just heard there's a guy firing bowling balls in my town with a black powder mortar. I'm waiting for them to come flying through my window. So nobody dox me, please. Nobody give away my address here on the show, because this guy's going to call
TRP.
This guy's going to call a fire mission on my house.
And it won't come through your window. It'll come through your roof.
That's true.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a mortar, so he probably can't depress it too much. Cool. Piotr, you're being kind of quiet. Anything? You'd never be afraid to interrupt us, because we're rude American.
He wasn't celebrating American Independence Day, so
Yeah. I was sympathizing with the Englishman.
Yo.
All right, we are deleting Piotr from the chat. Piotr, you've been fired.
Now
again.
he's fired.
So yeah.
The original Brexit.
Time to initiate the Sitrep Podcast Progressive Discipline Program.
There you go.
Consider this your first warning.
Okay. Hey, come on! I send you happy 4th of July, Jim.
That's true. This is true.
Meanwhile, Gaz is probably on your side though, Piotr. He's like, yeah, ungrateful colonists.
Oh yeah, I got like 20 of those messages. Happy Treason Day, ungrateful colonials, ungrateful colonists. All right.
It's only treason if you lose.
It's only treason if you lose. Number one. Number two, I think we've paid back that debt a few times by this point. Exhibit A, the entire 20th century. I mean, for the British and the French.
Yeah, good times.
Totally.
It's the Poles that were choosing always the wrong side of the fight. Maybe not always, but they went with Napoleon to regain independence. It failed.
It's not their fault. They're in a tough spot geographically.
Well,
yeah.
All the way back to the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in the 1600s. It's.
Oh yeah.
They're not exactly blessed by geography. I mean, especially in the 20th century. They're right behind.
Really.
On the one side of my house, I've got Hitler. Over here, I got Stalin. All right, good luck, bro. I mean,
yeah.
My one ally are the British, who don't really do anything. And then then you've got the French, who we were talking about before the stream started. They invaded Germany for like 15 minutes in September of '39.
Hey, come on! The British, dropped some flyers on Berlin to
Drop some
that were
flyers on
saying,
Berlin.
"Stop war."
Stop, or I'll say stop again, unless you
Yeah.
shoot down my airplane.
John says thanks for the 4th of July sympathy. So you got people in the chat on your side, Piotr. That's all good.
It's for balance.
Yeah, that and if let's see, we had Walkabout Games with this before, right? Oh no, that's Gaz. Sorry. So yeah, Gaz is almost certainly on your side. When we have Walkabout
Yeah.
Games, I always feel like I have to. Oh, there's Gaz. I didn't say a word. I always feel like we have to apologize to the Canadians as well when we talk about American Revolution or 4th of July, especially the theater that I study a lot, because we invaded Canada twice, literally before we declared our own independence. And if you read about the Montreal-Quebec campaign, man, we came that close, like literally within about 5 minutes. Of a converging attack on Quebec itself, and like one blast from like a 6-inch gun with some canister shot took out like 6 key guys, General Montgomery, and then most of his staff. And there would have been one country from the Rio Grande to Barrow, Alaska, would have been no borders.
I mean, technically, we were invading England and/or France, depending on where you went north from America. I mean,
well, they went through Montreal. It was a converging attack. They went through Montreal. That's Richard Montgomery, and then Benedict Arnold went up the Kennebec River in Maine to go straight for Quebec over the mountains. And by that point, it was all Britain. I mean, there was obviously a big part of Canada that still spoke French, but the Plains of Abraham, 1759, that battle had already been fought and lost for the French.
See, the way I tell the tale is we were trying to liberate them as well.
They were trying to make it the 14th colony, and they. Go ahead.
It's a tradition that we've carried on in Iraq, in Afghanistan. We will liberate you.
Well, you should at least
whether you want it or not.
Before you invade another country, you should declare yourself a country. We invaded Canada from 2 different directions. November 30th. First of all, who invades Canada on November 30th? But hey, November 30th, 1775. We weren't going to declare our own independence for another 7 or 8 months. So, always doing things.
Well, Washington had this new army. He had to take it for a test drive.
He didn't have any ammo. He was trying to besiege Boston without any cannons. Or that's the whole Ticonderoga thing, Dorchester Heights. And,
but I was gonna say we fixed that
eventually. We'll get there eventually. That's all good. Jen says we could hear you thinking it, Gas. So yeah, that's all. We're all friends now. It's all good. So, with everything out of the way, as far as just general hello goes, let's start talking about hobby. So, Martin, what have you been up to in hobby lately?
All right. So the last couple of podcasts, I've been talking about my Rangers and my SAS dog team, both of which are complete. I put some. Oh, look at you! You got pictures.
Hey,
you're fancy.
We're professional, Martin. You can tell by our Skype cast and our reversed cameras and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. There's 14, 15 of them, something like that. So it's a good bunch. I think they turned out well. It was my attempt at multicam, and then got them based up. I also got the SAS dog team done. That's just 4 dudes with a dog.
There we go.
And I was trying to figure out what the best camouflage for them was, and it looked like a lot of those dudes were wearing a form of multicam. So basically, they have multicam, but there's a different base color underneath them, just so that way my stuff doesn't look all the same on the table if these 2 particular units end up on the table at the same time.
Right.
I mean, you can obviously tell that their gear is different, but just one more way of differentiating them.
One guy looks like he's carrying an M4. The guy in the back with a suppressor, or
he's not. It's not an M4. What's
this guy back here? I'm just looking at the handguards. Those look like the rails that were.
Yeah, because it's crap? What's their little bullpup rifle? Why am I drawing a blank on that?
The L85, I think it is, or the L80.
Yeah, because I think that's because it's. we're talking about that dude. I think that's what it is, because it's actually a bullpup rifle, or one of them is. So, but yeah, no, it's not actually an M4 for any of those dudes. And then I've also got a herd of Russians. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I've got 16 of those dudes, and I think I finished painting them last night. Although some of them have like goggles on, and I got to go back and hit the lenses on their goggles, and then they need to be based, because it's just an MDF base. I haven't done anything with that yet. But
You have a couple of those, don't you? Let me know when you need more.
I think I'm good on bases. I still have like a garbage bag full. The beauty of Chris owning a laser cutter.
Nice.
Hey, I need some 25 millimeter bases, and he's like, well, I got this 2 foot by 2 foot sheet of MDF. I guess they'll just turn it all into bases.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty well set there. And then just to keep things fresh and have some variety, I've also started working on my Lord of the Rings Pelennor Fields starter set. So I've got 8 of the Rohan Footman, the dismounted models done. I've got 4 more primed up and started. So
the big battle at the end of the third movie, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when they're fighting outside of Minas Tirith.
I don't know much about fantasy gaming, so you have to be super basic with it. Have you seen the movie? Remember the third one? They had a big battle with the scary elephants and.
Yeah, it's that one.
That's the one.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the one.
I'm guessing. So cool.
Nailed
My
it.
idea of fantasy gaming is strip poker in a hot tub full of Hooters waitresses. So, when it comes to elves and dragons and hats, and it gets weird for me. But no worries. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
See, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I got sucked into it, and Bill gave me some Lord of the Rings stuff when he was paring down what he could take with him on the boat. So I'm painting it up, and we're gonna slap that on the table sometime.
Well, that's nice. I'm rereading the books every year, actually, because I love Tolkien.
Yeah. He does a great job. I've been hooked since I think I read The Hobbit when I was, I don't know, I was probably in 4th grade, 5th grade. I was still in elementary school when I read The Hobbit, and then in junior high, I read the rest of the series and the Silmarillion, and I've been reading it ever since. I really like his writing.
It probably helped that you were probably grounded that whole time too.
But well, yeah.
I was gonna say.
There was a little bit of that going on.
Has that new series on Amazon Prime actually started yet, or?
No.
No.
It's
not
not
yet.
debuted yet.
So people are already complaining about it. I don't know how they can complain about it when it hasn't even come out yet, but.
They keep releasing.
2nd, I think.
They keep releasing trailers and whatnot, and everything you see, in my eyes, makes me want to either throw up or scream. So I understand them.
Oh, well, I'm not disagreeing with them. In fact, this is I know there's a lot of Star Wars fans in the chat right now, but this is why Star Wars has been dead since 1993 or something. It's everything that comes out is just bad. Or if you're a certain kind of fan, if you follow a franchise, a lot of times from God knows when, it's almost I almost feel bad. I don't want to say I feel bad because they're all billionaires, but these people who buy and then try to make these franchises. If you stick too much to the source material, you get The Force Awakens. Everybody complained that you just basically remade A New Hope. And then if you start changing things, people start bitching that you change things. So it's like, okay, well, pick a lane here, bro. Pick a struggle. Which way do you want to go with this?
Yeah, the dudes from Amazon had very little source material to work with, because as it turns out, the Tolkien estate had already given the rights to much of it, to Lucasfilm and now Disney and whatnot. So there wasn't a whole lot they had to work with. So they got a little bit and then just made up the rest, and people are incensed over it.
You gotta watch out for fans, man. I mean, people care about this stuff. So, and again, this is like
You know,
when I watch most history movies, it's just like it's not really the same thing. It's not like a fandom or an IP, but it's kind of an IP. It's a shared collective story that we all know, or that we're
right.
supposed to know, or that some of us know. And when you get it wrong, it's like you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and there are people that very much make that analogy, and they will argue that you could treat uh, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series and the Silmarillion, all of that stuff. And I say that because he's got other writings as well.
Right.
But if you look at his Middle Earth writings, that you could argue that is history. Now, fantasy history, but he has it from the creation story
Yeah.
all the way
There's
through.
enough
That's
there.
true.
Well, I mean, even
Yeah.
with something that's not as heavy or it's not as well detailed, I mean, if you're going to sit down and do the Battle of Hoth, if you do it wrong, everyone has seen that movie. Everyone has seen Empire
Yeah.
Strikes Back. And that's of course, it's not real, but that's almost not the point. Mechanically, it works the same. There's a shared collective, cultural phenomenon or whatever you want to call it, story that we all know
Yep.
and we all share. And if you start, screwing around with it too much, you can add to it if you're respectful about it. But if you start, screwing around with it too much, start, going there and changing things, people are going to notice. Some people are going to think it's okay. A lot of people aren't. So,
Yep. Now, the thing that really bothers me with a lot of this stuff
mhm.
is when the only thing that's common with the original source material is the title.
Yeah,
You see that a lot more with
Yeah.
like Tom Clancy books. Now, the movie Without Remorse was good, um, but other than the title and nothing was the same.
this goes back to, speaking of Tom Clancy, like the very first thing they made into a movie. He sold the rights to Hunt for Red October, and yeah, you read that novel and you watch the movie, and it's like
That's one of the better ones,
they
closest to
they
the
they
story.
kind
I
of
mean,
slashed the middle. I guess they did it for length or whatever. They
yeah,
slashed the
and that
middle
Yeah.
out and they kind of stitched it together. The Royal Navy played a big part in the novel. The Royal Navy doesn't even appear in the movie. And then I think after that, Tom Clancy said the movie was successful, and by then he was even more of a successful writer. He had more gravity and clout. He's like, all right, from now on, I have whatchamacallit, I have final cut on the
Yeah.
screenplay. And so you
Yeah.
get
Some sort
Patriot
of creative
Games, you get Clear
control
and
there.
Present Danger. It gets a little better.
Patriot Games was better.
Yeah.
Clear and Present Danger was not. I mean, Jack Ryan was nowhere near South America. He was actually up in Brussels when all that shit went down.
He wasn't there for most of it, but at the end, it's Harrison Ford. You're gonna buy Harrison Ford for a movie. You have to put him. He doesn't actually do any of the action. He does show up, but he doesn't. I don't ever think he picks up a weapon. Does he? It's been a year. It's been years since I've seen that
Yeah.
movie. But now that Tom
Well,
Clancy has passed, I don't know who's in charge of the scripts. I haven't seen any of the recent stuff. So if it's getting really bad again, it wouldn't surprise me.
well, I'm not too fond of expanding universes when a company buys out something. Like, for example, with the Disney and the Star Wars stuff you're talking about, because I don't know if it's based on any writings like Tolkien's books. I'm not into Star Wars really, but
Well, the
Tolkien
first
created a whole
first thing they
universe.
did,
Yes.
when they bought it was shit can the EU,
Yeah.
which made a
Yeah.
modicum of sense at the time, but now it's because
That's
it
true.
wasn't all going to gel together. Like if you read, not to get completely on a tangent here, the Dark Empire series on top of the Timothy Zahn series, on top of the Kevin J. Anderson series, Truce at Baccarat, Courtship of Princess Leia. None of this stuff gels together. It's everyone kind of could do their own thing because George Lucas was very, look, as long as you do it with some kind of, respect or whatever, and we'll say the brand and or the license for the brand or whatever. So when Disney first took over, and what the hell was that? 2011, they bought it, and then the first movie came out in 2015 or something like that. They said, look, we're gonna have to, pretty much nuke the EU because it was never gonna come together, and then build a movie on top of that. So a lot of fans rage that they blew up the expanded universe, and now they're kind of cherry picking out of it, like Thrawn has been recanonized and all this other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do
Uh,
think we can all agree that the best initial spin-off from the Star Wars um, genre, I guess, would be Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs was
Yeah.
pretty good. Just like the Orville is probably like the best start.
Yep.
The Orville and
Galaxy Quest.
thank you. Oh my God, it was right there. Thank you. Yeah, you totally knew what I was going with that.
You were thinking it. You were thinking
was
it
trying to.
really loud.
I was gonna say those brainwaves were coming out.
The best Star Trek movies that were actually Star Trek. So John says, yeah, Rogue One was probably the best of the most recent stuff. Yeah, once you get to the back of it, once you get to the end of it, I think they could have trimmed at least 20 to 30 minutes out of that whole first part of it. But that's just a personal thing. Tolkien wanted to create a creation mythology for Britain. Yep, this is what I've heard.
Yep.
It's pretty common, says Jen Lemon. They take the basic ideas and Hollywood it up, and then issues a company check for the helicopter. Yeah.
Hollywood
He rolls up.
Tigers.
He rolls up to Pablo
how much to rent
Escobar's
the
house. What is that?
helicopter?
It's like Pablo Escobedo. It's Pablo Escobar. He rolls up to Pablo Escobar's house, and he's like, "Hello, I'm Jack Ryan. I'd like to see Pablo Escobar. I don't have an appointment." He just hands him like the assistant deputy director of the CIA or something.
To get the helicopter, he's like, you know, how much to rent the helicopter? $2 million. How much to buy the helicopter? $2 million.
You could buy a helicopter. We just have to take it for a test flight first.
And then he's like, company check, okay?
Yeah, he said, how much? You take it for a test flight. You just have to leave a deposit. How much is that? $2 million. Oh, okay, wise ass. Whips out the CIA card. Would you take a company check?
Yeah.
Capital C.
Yeah. Right.
Think of the American Express points he gets off of that.
Good God. Man. There's Amex, and there's Amex Black, or whatever the hell they call it, and then there's the CIA bank account.
Yeah. I don't know if they're allowed to off of those because, you don't really want to tie yourself to them. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You don't get the bill in the check, or you get the check in the mail. All right, so moving along, Mr. Piotr, what have you been up to lately? I think we started off with some Infinity.
Yeah. I've been doing some Infinity lately because I'm getting into the system. So that is the picture from my yesterday's game. I got beaten badly, but that's no surprise because at the beginning the system seems to be really overwhelming with the amount of different combinations that you can do with your orders and different options that you have when you can actually shoot or react in the opponent's face. So, but it was time well spent, and I think I will invest more in the stuff. But people were praising the table on Facebook and on Discord, and I must say that the guys that did the paper stuff did create a Tetris, because you can actually put everything inside the buildings, and you come up with a small plastic container that can support like 2 tables, I believe, when you take it
very
out.
nice.
So it was really well designed a few years back, and takes really a small amount of space. So when we have to move it or take it somewhere, you just pick it up, you go and you set up like 2 or 3 tables. I believe you can support 3 tables with it. So that's really a great thing that you can produce, but I don't know how they made it.
Awesome.
Because I was not into Infinity over there.
So, Gaz says that Infinity has a model that makes for a great SAS operative. Yeah, normally, guys, obviously, people in the chat, we are a military history channel. Even though we just got done talking about Lord of the Rings and Star Wars for about 20 minutes. But in all seriousness, we don't usually feature sci-fi games. We realize Infinity is technically a sci-fi game, but at the same time, it's kind of near future. I've never played it, but I've read a lot about it. I know a lot of people who play it. I think there's a lot that you could use based out of Infinity that would be very like near future or even like current day, or like 5 minutes in the future, techno thriller kind of stuff. Like Gaz says, there's a model there that makes for a great SAS operative, and that's actually slightly bigger than 28 mil, right? Isn't it like 35 mil or something like that?
No, it's 28, I believe. But
28?
some of the models are, some of the models are a little bit bigger. So maybe heroic or maybe 32. like the guy in the bottom left corner. So yeah.
Right next to the unpainted miniatures. I can't believe I just put up a picture of
Yes.
unpainted miniatures on my
What?
What? Oh no.
They are painted. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They're covert ops, literally black ops, literally black ops.
Yeah. There you go. We'll go with that.
Then you also had some Team Yankee going. Looks like.
Oh yeah, I've been after I came back from vacation. I didn't have a chance to play until last, I believe it was Thursday or maybe Tuesday. It doesn't matter. We did record the game, so maybe it will show up on the Sitrep Podcast YouTube channel. We shall see what Jim decides.
Oh yeah, I've
But
got
yeah,
the raw video. The fans, we've got the raw video in the can. It looks great. I just have to edit it and put it together and find a spot for it on the schedule. But we do have it, and it will be coming out soon.
so I played the French, obviously, as usual. Don't mind the German counter, and I was playing against the Russians, and the French did as the French usually do, pun intended. But yeah, it was a great game. I fought till the end, but eventually I could not stop the Russian hordes coming at me,
Was it
despite
a T64
doing a lot
on
of
your
carnage.
left? A T64 on your right wing there?
T62s.
T62. I like something like this. Something vaguely like this happened at one of the at a table of Flames of War I was watching, where they had like 5 Shermans in a row like that. Like you've got 6. What are those fobs?
Yeah,
Light.
the Mephisto.
Okay, light French armor. Yeah, Mephisto is the anti-tank weapon, right? But it's on a Vob
Yep,
chassis, or am I getting that wrong?
true. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a chassis.
When you get the tank like touching like the side of a line of Shermans, I think it had a Tiger. So it's a Tiger 1 next to a line of Shermans, and I saw them all on fire like that. I'm like, how did that resolve? You take a D6 and you roll it, and that's how many Shermans the shell went through when you fired it right down the line like that. It just keeps going and going and going.
It was a Hollywood Tiger.
There you go.
Sure.
And then you've also done some really small stuff. So this is like what, 1 to 600, I think.
Yeah, 1 to 600, tumbling dice miniatures. I painted some MiG-70s and MiG-21s for the Egyptian Air Force, circa 1967, 1972. It's not the Nile camouflage, Nile Valley camouflage yet. I went for the two-color one. Yeah, but I have some mirages and what are they called? I always forgot the earlier version before the. Yeah, for the Israelis, the French ones.
Mysterious? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Mysterious. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, it's Mystere or Mysterious. It doesn't matter. I have them painted up, so I believe we will have a game of missile threat soon with my friend, and we shall see how the system is working on the table because I haven't played it yet.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, hey, if this is the Egyptian Air Force and they're off the ground at 67, they've already won the game as far as historical victory conditions go.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The Israelis did not mess around on 5 June 1967, that's for sure. So the last couple of weeks for Hobby since our last show on Hobby, we have done, because it was the 40th anniversary of the Falklands War, we did some Royal Marine Commandos this time. Last time we featured Valor and Victory with the Falklands War, we did Royal Para Commandos. So this time we went with the Marines. That means the 45th Royal Marine Commandos out the Two Sisters Hill that sort of overlooks Stanley from the west. So we did that. The video is on our YouTube channel. Check it out. It actually went pretty well. I finally finished my Bradleys. These are originally Battlefront 15mm Bradleys for Team Yankee. Clearly, I did not do them in Team Yankee paint scheme. We're going for a Desert Storm force here. This is why it's also like the earlier configuration of the Bradley. It doesn't have that additional side armor or anything like that. So now I have a pretty decent force for pretty much almost anything Desert Storm, as long as you stick to the Americans. What I really need now is a force of desert painted T-72s, because I've got plenty of T-54s, T-55s, Type 59-2s. I've got all the other stuff. I just don't have that big Republican Guard stuff. Plenty of BTRs for the Army. I need BMP-1s for the Republican Guard. So that's where you get into your Medina Ridge, 73 Easting, stuff
Yep.
like that. And it would be nice to have some British stuff. So maybe if I can get a hold of some Challenger ones, we'll do some stuff like that. And then for the anniversary, or I should say for the holiday weekend, we always in the past have done something American Revolution based because July 4th. It was getting a little stale, so I thought I would change gears a little bit. So obviously, for people who may not know in the audience, July 4th, of course, is our Independence Day, so we always do American Revolution stuff. However, July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, right before that, is also the anniversary for Gettysburg, which
Mhm.
is the biggest battle of the American Civil War. It's not the biggest battle in the history of the U.S. Army. It is, I think, the biggest battle in the history of the Western Hemisphere. I think it still holds that record. But yeah, we do that. So I used Avalon Hill's Smithsonian edition. I recorded a game, put it up on our channel, so check that out if you're interested. It's very, very entry level. As you can see, the pieces are division in scale, except for some of the cavalry and the artillery. But the infantry stuff is all division based. So the entire game is like 30 or 40 pieces. It's not that big a deal. It plays in about 2 hours tops. That's if you play all 3 days. You can play individual days, like only July 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd. Yes, as a scenario thing, it takes all of about, maybe 45 minutes to play a scenario. 2 hours to play the whole game. That's if you're not trying to record it. And yeah, that was definitely a good content. And then I've started an F-16. It's from a relatively inexpensive model company, Academy Plastic Models or whatever. It's not like a Tamiya or a Revel model. It's going okay so far. Since this time, it's had some more sanding and a little bit more gap filling with putty, and it's got a coat of prime on there. So some video on this might be going out. I also got to say they didn't give me they did not give me a flight stand, which kind of raged me a little bit. So we kind of had to make our own there in my dad's shop. We put that together in about 10 minutes. So that might get some varnish if I sand it down a little bit more. Who knows? It depends on how good the model comes out. Oh, I lost the photo there. It depends on how good the model comes out, if it's worth a nice flight stand. So yeah, we'll see how that project goes.
Your pilot
And
already punched out.
Yeah, well, it's going to have some priming put on there, and then the actual airbrush stuff. So the cockpit, the canopy, all that stuff gets put in afterwards, because of course that all has to get painted separately.
Yeah,
It's,
that was a joke, man.
oh, I know. I'm just saying, it's there's reasons he's well, I mean, clearly there's reasons he's not in there, but other than that, the model's put together. I know like purists who will like literally paint every piece before they glue it together. I never have luck with that. Also, I don't have the patience for it. But like when I built that A10 Warthog, I literally just put the whole thing together except for the canopy. I didn't even bother leaving the pilot out. I painted the pilot when it was already put in the cockpit, which was fine. It's not that big a deal.
yeah, when I built mine, I did the cockpit first because I could build it paint it separate, and then I
Totally.
built everything else, and I just covered the cockpit when it was time to paint the rest of it.
Oh, okay, cool. So does that also include the canopy? Did it have like a clear plastic piece of
It
canopy?
it Yeah, so it's got a two-piece canopy. So there's a clear plastic part, and then there's a gray plastic part for the frame that goes over it.
Gotcha.
So I airbrushed the frame separate, a couple dabs of glue, put it on the clear plastic part, and immediately crazed part of it. So yay me! And then yeah, that was all I had to do for that. So
Yeah,
but I did.
I just don't put the canopy on yet. It depends on how the model's made. Sometimes you have to do it that way because the ejection seat, the instrument panel, the pilot himself, the canopy, it won't fit into the model after you assemble the rest of the fuselage. So
Right.
there you're kind of screwed. You have to kind of do it the way you were just talking about before. But this one, I checked ahead of time. Fortunately, I can put everything in there afterwards, so I just didn't put it on there yet. It's a little rough and
Oh,
ready. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
we also know that if work is still being done, the officers are nowhere around. So
Yeah. There's no pilot because the plane is still being built. People are actually still working. And then I literally forgot what the next slide was. What is this? Oh, so wrapping up things for hobby, we wanted to quickly highlight a few things that some of our community members were doing and putting in our Discord. Again, a link to our Discord, everybody, is in the description of this video. So if you're not already a member of our Discord, there's an invite link in this video. Check it out, and you can see what everybody's working on and add your own stuff. Maybe we'll feature it on a future episode. But this is some Confederate artillery and infantry. It looks like that. Walkabout Games has been working on. He's also got some Union artillery up on the disc scenario that he's told me he's aiming for. And then
Well, he's got a lot more to build if he's going to do Gettysburg.
Well, he's doing like the very first shots fired. So it's one cavalry brigade versus one infantry brigade, and I don't know what system he's using. I know some of those systems, it's more of a scaled thing. Like one figure is worth like 60 men or something like that. But no, I don't think he's trying to do the entire Battle of Gettysburg, especially at 28 mil.
I was gonna say not at that scale.
Yeah, that would be a rough thing right there.
True.
So
It'd be epic.
It would be awesome. I want to see that table. So John Sowerby is working on some terrain. I know he's working on also some cavalry and some livestock. And also here we see some terrain. Yeah, I think he's working on something for the War of the Roses. So yeah, we're watching that on Discord, and we're seeing how he gets more work done, and he makes further progress in his project. So pretty cool there.
Yep. Trees look good.
Gaz puts in the comments. What happened to Goose? Everyone's talking about the. First of all, that's an F-14, not an F-16. But I get joke. I get reference.
Yep.
Speaking of which, have you guys seen the new Maverick movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's good.
Let's go back to that last picture, or the gentleman you said was
with the trees.
Yeah, he said that he was working on something and livestock.
Cavalry and livestock, in other sites, which I don't have here.
Yep. So we were talking earlier about Marty being artillery. He worked on livestock too.
Negative, Ghost Rider. That was not my unit. So what Chris is talking about is one of the sister batteries in my battalion. When we were in, here we go, Alpha 211 Field Artillery, which I was not in.
By their unit. Here we go.
Hey, well, the incident report still exists. So when we were on Oahu, you had to reduce your artillery charge to the minimum one, so that way it would land at the base of a mountain range. Turns out, if you're not real smart about making sure that you do that, and somebody over there didn't, you hear boom, 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 ping. Like, whoa, wait a minute, that didn't sound right. So they left a full charge on their artillery round, went sailing over the mountain range, and this has happened on 2 different occasions, 2 years in a row. The first year it landed in a McDonald's parking lot. No injuries. The second year it landed in a farmer's field and killed a cow.
Jesus.
Yeah, they were decertified and not allowed to shoot on that island again.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not supposed to bombard your own civilians.
Yeah, that's probably part of the reason why folks in Hawaii hated the military. I mean, shot your McDonald's and killed a cow with a 105 millimeter HE artillery round. By the way.
So you hit McDonald's with a 100 HE round and did no damage?
I didn't say we didn't do damage. I said there were no injuries.
Oh.
No, it blew a huge freaking hole in their parking lot. Turns out that works.
Next thing you know, there's a huge smoking hole there. I'm like, are they closed?
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
They are now.
Yeah, right.
All right, I get it. The ice cream machine's not working.
The ice cream machine's broken. Finally, McDonald's has an excuse. Look, we were hit by an artillery strike today. Okay, our ice cream machine is broken. Deal with it.
Yeah.
What about the other 7 million times your ice cream machine never works?
Well,
this time
in
we
case
have
of artillery.
Excuse.
Yeah.
It was a message from a KFC fan.
Ooh, there you go.
Burger King's like, I'll fix you. Here we go.
Little something for you.
Not to mention ruined a few pants, says Jennifer Lemon. Yeah, if it was open at the time.
Yep.
Although, in a McDonald's, could you really tell the difference in the smell? I mean, it already smells like shit, so, I mean, everyone shits their pants in the McDonald's. It's like,
Damn.
oh, they just brought out fresh hamburgers, or they just dumped the grease tray out of the fries or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine if that round would have hit the grease pit? Ugh.
Burning grease.
Oh.
The entire town has to be evacuated as a biohazard.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that would have been nasty.
The Waffle House would still be open. Well, the artillery shell would deflect off of the Waffle House. Little known fact, Waffle House takes their stakes and they shingle their roofs with it. So it's pretty much a bunker at that point. I mean, artillery shell's not really gonna do any damage.
I was gonna say, I think Waffle House is impervious and would probably use that as advertising.
Yeah, we got shelled by artillery and we're still here because we put our stakes on the roof. It's all fine.
Yeah. So what do you want on your omelet, honey?
Poor Waffle House.
I like Waffle House.
I ran across something on Facebook the other day. It was like a European goes to Waffle House for the first time, and I was like, oh no. I didn't even have to watch the video. I just saw the title and I said, oh jeez, this will end in tears. This is not gonna go well. Most Americans, well, except for Chris. I mean, most Americans don't go to a Waffle. Well, I shouldn't say that. People who
no, I'm a fan. I just know what I'm getting into when I go to one.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, where else are you getting a $6 omelet? By the way, there's a reason why it's a $6 omelet. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
And then you can have your mound of hash browns with the whole litany of things.
That's true. And they're not skimpy on the bacon.
Right.
Jen mentions Huddle House. I haven't been in a Huddle House since 1993.
I mean,
we used to game in a Huddle House because they wouldn't let us game in the barracks. They thought we were worshiping the devil or whatever. So we just bail out to a Huddle House and we'd be gaming there on like a Friday night. And the waitress is bringing us coffee. And then she'd be like, guys, I'm clocking out. Can I get my tip? We're like, yeah, sure. We tip because she's brought us like 96 gallons of coffee by this point. So we're still gaming. The sun goes down. The sun comes up. She comes back into work on her next shift. And we're still sitting there. She's like, you guys are back? We're like, we're not back, sweetheart. We're wearing the same clothes last time you saw us. By the way, don't get too close. We probably don't smell so good right now.
Yeah.
You guys are still here? It was a 24-hour place.
Yeah. And I think there's one outside of every military post that's, in the South.
Highway 21, Beaufort, South Carolina. They all knew us in that place.
Yeah. They don't have any Waffle Houses up here, so we have to go down south to be able to hit one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's the thing. We enjoy it because we don't have access to one all the time.
Oh yeah, every time I go to, whenever I head up north, I get a White Castle. Just because.
But there you
go. That's like, the reverse for us.
Oh my god,
no.
it's like after I eat it, I instantly
Castle.
regret it. I'm like, I literally just put that in my body. I'm not 22 anymore. I can't do that shit. When you're 22, you can eat Tupperware and manhole covers and get away with it, dude.
But butch it up a little. Some sliders and some fries, you'll be fine.
Some sliders and fries.
Yeah.
I love how they call it. They are admitting how greasy it is. They call it literally a slider. It's just like, you don't even have to chew it. It just.
At our age, that's a cleanse.
There you go.
All right, there's some truth to that one.
Just do it within 3 hexes of the nearest functioning head, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you might want to do your homework on that one if you're not sure how your system's going to handle it.
Have that shit pre-sighted.
Or if you're exactly sure how your system's going to handle it, you definitely want to do that homework.
And it's surprising. You also want to have a full charge on your phone.
Oh yeah,
you're going to be there for a while.
You're going to kill a lot. You're going to sweep a lot of mines. You're going to play a lot of solitaire. You're going to, I don't know, whatever games you play. You're going to be there a while.
You'll play them all.
Right.
Speaking of games, we're like already way over time, but that's cool. I don't think we're going to get to our topic today, but that's fine. We often never do. But let's get to some news items, Mr. Marty.
All right. So some of this is just kind of fluff. As it turns out, I don't know if it's newsworthy. It's just stuff that catches my eye and that I want to share with the group. So some of it's kind of fluff and just real fast, and some of it's actual news. The first thing I wanted to share was Spectre Operations. I'm on their email list, and they were talking about, and I think we talked about it already, but I just want to throw it out there because I think they're really cool models. Is they launched their their British Special Reconnaissance Regiment squad. So they're a bunch of cool models, super secret spy guys. Kind of like CIA type of setup, but in military gear. They have both overt and covert models. So, kind of the soft look, and then, guns up, ready to go do business. A really cool sniper team with that. They're also, for those of you that haven't heard, and I was super excited about this. I think it was last podcast. That they're doing STL files now. So you can buy Spectre Operation STL files. So you 3D printers out there, go check it out. You got to go to their Patreon to get them, though. So there's that. But I think it's like...
it's totally understandable because they're basically, you're basically not buying a miniature at that point. You're just downloading. I'm sure the STL file costs a little bit still.
Yeah, and they're, but I mean, they're pretty cool looking stuff. You also get a little welcome pack, and apparently they've got a new figure in there, and I don't remember what it is, but they're going to keep doing that type of stuff. So I also Wargames Atlantic. I also subscribe to their newsletter. The bottom line up front for this story is they own almost the entire process from cradle to grave for manufacturing their products. And they put up a really nice article that they clickbaited me in. I'm going to totally say that up front. It lays out the state and the challenges of the mini industry. And pretty much they wind it, they talk about the process and all the, how they have to handle everything, and that costs, for plastics gone up here, and this is more expensive. And then they end it with, oh, by the way, because of this, we're not going to raise our prices for the foreseeable future. Like, oh, that's awesome. So they're getting it done right, in a perfect world. And I, no bang on anyone that can't do that. Obviously there's a lot to go into it, but in more companies like that, I mean, that's how you get through some of this stuff, is that you're able to control the process almost completely. I also love that on their webpage, you can click on there's a tab for release schedule, and you can check out the status of everything in their range. So it'll tell you whether or not it's in pre-order, it's a new release, they're restocking it, or if it's in the pipeline. Meaning it hasn't been manufactured yet, most likely. I say that because there's some in there that are have been manufactured but are on hold for release for whatever reason. Maybe there's more stuff that they want to release at the same time. But you can tell that, oh, this one is having the file created. This one's being sculpted. This one's being re-sculpted. Sorry, we had to work it out again. So I just like the transparency and the amount of information they provide.
How are miniature prices over by you, Peter? Are they going up, or?
The stores are rising most of the prices, especially for stuff like Battlefront that needs to be shipped in from, like New Zealand or something like that. Wargames Atlantic is not really popular over here, but that's because of the availability, because they still have to ship it out from you guys. And basically, what's not increasing, and that's funny because GW is not increasing. If anyone is into their stuff, but
that's because it's already increased.
It's already
they built that in years ago.
But a lot of stuff is being shipped from your side of the pond or from, I don't know, New Zealand or something like that, and due to the increasing price of shipping, the stuff is going up also. So that's not really great, because I believe there's an increase on Battlefront miniatures like 30% or something like that from the last year.
Ooh.
So, for example, when let's recalculate it quickly, you could buy a box of, I don't know, for example, what we have here.
It's usually about $10 a miniature here, at least for vehicles.
Yeah.
It's like $50 for a box of 5.
So $1 over here is like 4 zlotys and 50 groszy, and it doesn't tell a lot, but a box of Merkavas is like 150 zlotys over here now, so it would be like $40 or something like that. And it was last year it costed something like 100 zlotys, so it's almost 1/3 of the price gone up in the last few months. But that might be connected to COVID, because I know that Battlefront was not producing anything because their factory was closed in Malay. I believe they manufactured in Malaysia.
Yeah, they had some issues at the factory, and then getting it back up and running.
So the prices are going up, and we don't have many manufacturers over here, except for the small stuff. So like Oddział and they're doing the 6mm stuff mostly. And maybe the thing that was shared on Sitrep Podcast Facebook. So the guys from the Gods of War Lee, so they are doing 6mm ACW and the Togo warships that you were commenting, Jim. So the manufacturers over here are not increasing the prices, but everything that needs to be shipped in is going up.
The Russo-Japanese War. There's a great game for that. Fire When Ready. It's pre-Dreadnought battleships. So it's a very, very narrow. It's after the Civil War monitors and ironclads, stuff like that, but before HMS Dreadnought. So like 1885 to 1905. And you basically got the Spanish-American War and the Russo-Japanese War. And it's just funny because those battles are all one-sided. I mean, the Russians absolutely got tuned up at Port Arthur and Tsushima, and the Spanish, dear God, Santiago and Manila Bay, absolutely curb stomped. So anyway, interesting naval battles and tough to balance because the games are, talk about asymmetrical. It's bad.
That's true.
All right, moving on. I got 3 more things.
All right.
And 2 of them are pretty fluffy. So the next item that I had is I just want to throw this out there. Again, it's stuff that catches my eye and things that I just want to share.
And Marty, you're coming in broken and stupid, over.
Yeah, well, how's that? Because I can change nothing. So I'm hoping it works.
I guess we're at the mercy of the internet.
So I often peruse on tabletop news section when I'm researching the news for the show, and like I didn't pull anything out of there for this particular show, but if you're into tabletop gaming at all, you should really check it out. It's at beastofwar.com. There is a ton of crap on that, and I say crap, nicely. I don't mean that it's bad stuff. There's just a ton of material on there, and particularly the news items are it's all current and timely stuff. There's not a lot of modern stuff on there. Every now and then there'll be something, but there is just other stuff. So just about every other tabletop genre is in there. And I throw it out there because one, I kind of like the guys that do this stuff, as well as it's a good resource. So check it out. News, it's at beastofwar.com, and then just hit the news tab. Our good friends over at Warlord Games are having their warehouse wipeout. So that's their summer sale, if you will. Discounts up to 50% off of selected items and ranges. Stuff including Beyond the Gates of Antares, Strontium Dog, Cruel Seas, Blood Red Skies, and many more. When I say many more, I think there were 6 pages of stuff when I scrolled through it the other day. So if you play anything that is a Warlord game, go there, check out their summer sale. You may be able to pick up a little something to beef up what you got, or you may decide that you want to pick up a starter box. So nicely laid out. You can kind of go through it. You can sort it by game. It's pretty easy to get through. And now my final item, and this one, Jim, pay attention. Get your pencil out. You might have to take some notes.
All right.
Osprey Publishing has made a call.
Go ahead.
There you go. Has made a call for game designers. They said that they want some game designers. They're always looking for new stuff, especially in their award-winning range of wargaming titles. And if you're a designer or have been writing and playing your own games, why not get in touch? If you've got a fun war game, no matter the scale, genre, mechanics, or period, they want to know about it. You can email info@ospreygames.co.uk. Open call war games in the subject line. Tell them about your game. They would like you to send them a PDF file with a brief summary of your game, ideally keeping it down to one page on your summary, and just, what's the genre, period, setting of the game, the mechanics, the scale, both for miniatures and the game itself. So, is it a 15 mil, 28 mil? Is it a skirmish game, core, army, whatever? What you think sets it apart from other games and makes it better. And then, they want to know a little bit about you as well.
At me right now? Why is Piotr laughing at me?
He's probably thinking of you trying to get everything into one page.
I do that all the time. It's called an elevator pitch. It's called an elevator pitch. I do it for
I was going to say, the rules don't have to be in one page. Just his little blurb about himself and his game. The rest of it, he can go crazy with.
He will send his picture from when he was 20, and he will be, approved.
They ask you to bear with them because they're going to respond to every email, but that may be a bunch of them, so it may take a minute to get to you. The other thing is, oddly enough, Wargames Vault has their summer sale going on as well. Wargame Vault, I should say, has their summer sale going on. There are 67 Osprey titles on sale. The reason why I bring that up is, one, because it's Osprey connected, but two, I perused through just the Osprey stuff. The most expensive title that I saw was $23. Most of them were between $10 and $12. Now, a lot of those are PDF files, so you got to print them out yourself, kind of thing. But every genre imaginable that Osprey has, is pretty much on sale there, as well as Game Vault War Game Vault is doing their summer sale, and that's like 25% off of everything. Not just Osprey stuff, but Osprey stuff has got some really deep discounts on their jazz.
Yeah, so Osprey's famous for history, but they, like you said, any genre, they do stuff besides history. They do like Billion Suns.
Oh yeah, they've got there's a ton of stuff.
Osprey game.
I mean, just check it out. You can www.wargamevault.com.
It is pretty good. Sorry, here.
Yeah,
I've never tried it.
Never tried Darkstar? What?
No, I'm just kidding.
He just wrote it.
Yeah. It's just this little idea I've had kicking around.
A biased review.
And that, my friends, is the news, or at least my end. If you got something that you would like to add, because I glossed over something, by all means, throw it in there.
Cool. All right. So, we've been up now for an hour and 9 minutes, roughly. So we can quickly go through the topic because it was on the title slide. So we don't want to. We already made that mistake once where something was on the title slide and we never got to it. So
well, real quick, if you don't mind, before you
go ahead, Chris.
Oh, go ahead.
No worries. Interrupted.
You were asking about what we've been doing. I've been trying to unpack all the stuff and get the studio back up down here. The other thing is I picked up a new game that Marty had alluded to earlier, and it's something that you might well know, or you both should know about as well. 303 Squadron.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, the Polish squadron in RAF, yes, during the 1940.
Yeah. So the game looks very good. Just picked it up. Haven't put it together yet. Haven't played it. Definitely looking forward to getting Marty down here to play it out. They also have a solo play style for it, but it looks very nice. I initially saw it at our local game store. Support your local guy, and I wanted to take a look at it. Looked at Board Game Geek, and they had pretty decent reviews. The reviews could be they're a little bit mean on the rules. The So the rules could be a little bit clearer. But other than that, everybody is still saying it's a great game.
Well, the good news is we don't even understand the rules when they're clearly written and easy to follow. So it isn't going to affect us really.
Yep. So one of the things that really caught my eye is the first review at Board Game Geek, and they're just saying it's in intensity and desperation in a box. It's definitely you have to choose from the lesser of all the evils, and sometimes your decisions have far-reaching effects as they do in war. But it's a very nice laid out game, very well designed and put together. So we're looking forward to it.
Cool.
And actually, I think it's manufactured by a Polish company.
Yeah, I believe so. It's Ogri WAU or something like that. I don't know, but they are doing some nice games, and it's a hell of a box, I believe, because it's jam-packed with stuff.
It is. It really is. And then there's like 3 or 4 different expansions off of it too.
Cool.
So
we'll have more on that later.
If it's specifically about 303, you mentioned desperation in a box. Yeah, the British did not want to let those people fight, and then as we see in the movie, they kind of get mixed up. So they only use them when they really get desperate, and they didn't have the best planes either. Piotr, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they were flying Spitfires. They were still flying Hurricanes. So Hurricanes
because the
versus...
British.
Go ahead.
The British thought that these guys don't know how to, fly, basically, because there's the great scene in the movie when they are, riding bicycles or something like that and pretending to be doing dogfights or something like that. But, they didn't let them fly too often because the war was supposed to last for like 5 or something like years. So, they were grounded.
Repeat, please. Repeat, please. I said get back in formation. Repeat, please. No, but in all seriousness, Hurricanes versus BF-109s. That's an uphill battle right there. But that was most of the RAF. I mean, the Spitfire gets all the glory, but the Hurricane was the workhorse. Still built out of wood for the most part. They had like a metal frame, and like some of the control surfaces were metal, but most of the fuselage was still wood. And doing what they could. So yeah, definitely a tough part of the Battle of Britain, to be sure.
But we have to mention the Czechs also because they were part of the 303. So
don't forget the whole 7 Americans that were there. Every time the Battle of Britain comes up, the Americans are like, we were in that battle too. I saw Ben Affleck in Pearl Harbor. Yeah, a whole 7 guys out of like 2,500 pilots. It's the same thing like when the British try to insert themselves in Vietnam. It's like, the British were there. First of all, no, you weren't. Second of all, you want to be in Vietnam? I mean, Battle of Britain was a victory. I can see where people want to elbow in on that one, but I don't know. Kind of strange. So cool, Chris. I appreciate it. Yeah, air games are great. We have Air War C-21, but we haven't played it in a while. I don't know if that would work for World War II because it's mostly jet age stuff. So a good, World War II, air combat game. Definitely would be awesome. Which we've sort of done before. Gaz used to paint some Blood Red Sky stuff. We should probably get more into World War II air combat, to be sure. Yep. All right, so did you guys want to try and go through the topic real quick, or you want to save it for another episode?
Skirmish for the win for me.
Yeah, okay, so what we were talking about, guys, real fast on our topic were the levels of command and what kind of gaming you like. And I'm bringing this up because I'm thinking about bringing some more operational level games into the Sitrep Podcast. So super fast. We all know about, for people in the audience, we all know about the basic 3 levels of military command: strategic, operational, tactical. And basically what they mean, I'm not going to like preach to the choir. Everyone kind of knows what those are. The only sort of footnote I put in there is I sometimes break, when it comes to war gaming, not actual combat or actual military operations, but war gaming, I break tactical into 2 pieces. I break that into, these are just my terms, they're not official terms or whatever. Command tactical and skirmish tactical. So the reason that's a difference is the rules get radically different. for skirmish tactical versus a command tactical. So skirmish tactical is more like WYSIWYG. If you see a miniature on the table, that's one guy. If you see a tank on the table, that's one guy. And why that's important from a rules perspective and like what kind of games you enjoy are there's usually a roll to hit. So you have to roll to hit, and then if you hit, then you apply damage versus his armor, and you see what happens. Scale tactical or command tactical is not like that, and that goes from Valor and Victory all the way up to Gettysburg, which, yes, that's still a tactical game. It's one battlefield taking place pretty much on one day. Gettysburg is 3 days, but it's not a campaign. So tactical games do a battle. Operational games do a campaign. Strategic game does a war or wars. So if anyone was interested in other levels of command besides just skirmish tactical, because that's what 90% of people do 90% of the time, was anyone interested in either? Well, we do a lot of command tactical here on the channel too, either operational or strategic. Piotr,
Well,
I
I'm
know
doing it.
I know you've done some campaign-based gaming before.
Oh, that's true. Because I actually like the operational level due to some factors involved, like, for example, that you have to take care of the logistics, the supplies, and stuff like that. I don't really like the strategic one because I'm not really fond of moving counters where one counter represents an army, for example, or something like that. I don't like it. But I have some games prepared from my little collection. So I love this one. So Fire in the Lake. I don't know why it's blurred, but it's blurred. So
It's
this
focusing
one
on
is
you
great.
instead of
Yeah. And so the coins is so Insurgency in Vietnam. Great game from GMT Games. You can play the whole, Vietnam, the American one, of course, part from something more tactical. The Silver
GMT makes a
Bayonet
lot of great
also.
games.
Yep. So
Oh,
this
okay.
one. It's a remake from something from the 90s, I believe. They put it on a 25th anniversary. But I love this one, The Dark Valley by
Super fast
GMT
for people who
Games.
may not know, Silver Bayonet is I Drang, right, in November 65?
Yep.
Okay.
The Dark Valley is on the Eastern Front campaign, 1941-1945, also by GMT Games. The scale is, I believe, Division, Corps, and Army. So, great one. And, of course, my favorite, two Dien Bien Phu games, because
Oh,
I
yes.
love Dien Bien Phu.
Jihad demands results.
Yeah. And actually, the scale is not so much important to me when it comes to the levels of gaming. I like the theater. So I really love the Vietnam, the first one and the second one, and the Eastern Front. So I can play anything when
Oh
it comes
God,
to
Eastern
this
Front.
theater.
Yeah. So a lot of people will sometimes try to break out the levels based on like how many people you have on the table. Again, people who play like Waterloo, Austerlitz, Gettysburg, that's a tactical game. Just because there's 200,000 people on the map does not mean it's not tactical. Meanwhile, you could do like Iraqi freedom, where the map is all of Iraq and Turkey and Syria and Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, whatever. And that would be an operational game, even though there's not really 200,000 people on the map at the time. Depending on when in the conflict you're looking at, that's an operational game. So operational, the simplest way to put it is, and like what you were saying, Piotr, operational game is the campaign. It's not a battle. Every time you pick up the dice, it's not a unit shooting at another unit. It's a battle taking place, which leads into multi-level gaming, and that's something that everyone wants to try at least once in their life until you try it and you realize it's a friggin' nightmare. It's a mess.
Yep.
There are ways around it, but around the pitfalls. But anyway, we were going to so way back in like 2014, 2015. Talk about game design. I designed a World War 2.5 for on tabletop Beasts of War. I kind of gave them that game. That's theirs. I'm not gonna like bring it out or try to feature it or whatever. However, that system, which is not exactly original. It uses a lot of the same mechanics. A lot of other people have been doing operational games since the 50s. Seriously, Avalon Hill's like first war game, Tactics 2, or Tactics and Tactics 2 were operational level war games. That literally goes back to 1954. That's an operational game, and it's kind of a lot of the same mechanics. There's a lot of new stuff added onto it to kind of jazz it up a little. But yeah, stuff like that. who knows? Maybe D-Day. Basically, you're playing either Bradley or Montgomery, or really Montgomery, and you play like the first month of the invasion. See if you can take Khan, see if you can take San Lo. A lot of people have been talking recently about hypothetical invasion USA scenarios. Could you invade Florida based out of Cuba? Could you invade Texas out of New Mexico? Stuff like that. Get a little Red Dawn kind of action going there.
Right.
Again, but now you're playing like a 4-star general. Each piece on the table is either a brigade, division, or corps, and you've got like 40 or 50 pieces on the table. You're in charge of an army group. Not the full army like Peter was talking about with strategic level games. Which I kind of agree with, by the way, Piotr, before we get off topic. I've done Rise and Decline of the Third Reich. It's probably the only strategic game I've ever actually enjoyed. My uncle bought that for me when I was 11. So when it comes to wargaming, I got kind of thrown in the deep end. Even then, it's only core. Each piece on the table is a core. But you've got like 200 pieces on the table. It can be a touch much. And even then, it's only Europe. It's not global. So it's not the entirety of World War II. But I was thinking about maybe reboxing that World War 2.5 system into some other scenarios, and featuring that on the channel. See if people were interested in that. It's pretty simple. It's made to be simple. It's made to just be, you literally throw a bunch of d6s and count the numbers, so you don't have to add anything. There's no big charts. There's a little bit of resource management in there, which is the logistics part that Peter was talking about. It's literally like 50% of the game. Which is why some people don't like operational gaming, but it's what makes operational gaming operational. It's you're not playing Sergeant Jones or Lieutenant Smith. You're playing Patton or Montgomery or Bradley or maybe even Eisenhower, and you've got the whole show in your hands. Can you do as well as they did or better? It's up to you. But anyway, just food for thought. We were thinking about trying to diversify because we don't want to keep playing the same games over and over again. So I was thinking about maybe kicking some operational level stuff up on the table here on Sitrep Podcast. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So
that could be interesting.
Yeah, never know. If nothing else, it'll be different. I have no idea when. It was just an idea that I had rattled around in my head last night. All right. So other than that, that's all I have. You guys have anything else before we close out the show?
No.
We're all good.
Yep.
Jen says, I liked World War 2.5. Yeah, I made her play test it with me a bunch of times. So if Jen can play it, anyone can play it. Just kidding, Jen. Don't throw anything at me later. We're going all the way back to the beginning of the show. Well done, Mr. Pio. Okay, guys. So we're going to go ahead and close out the show. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming out. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Especially drop a like on this chat if you haven't liked it already, or if you don't like it. Hopefully you did. If you liked it, throw a like on there. It helps us with subscribers and getting into the YouTube algorithm and so on. But for the team here, this is Oriskany Jim. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming out. We had a great audience in the chat. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming out. And yeah, we're rounds complete. So take care, and we'll be in touch very soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Boo boy.